This is a house. It's just kind of in concept design right now. So this is one of the solar studies we did on it. Is it going? Oh, there it goes. And I always tell people to look at these windows right here, because these are those south windows. There's just a simple roof overhang. This is the longest day of the year. You know, it's never going to get a drop of sun. This is a different story over there, where you'll notice that window is just getting bombarded. And then here, same house, we're just looking from the opposite corner of the yard. And this is the longest day of the year. So this is December 21st and how much sun we're getting. And this piece right here was like this specific design element that the owner wanted. But once he saw these, we actually ended up changing all that, because he's like, oh my God, I got a 20-foot piece of glass. It really is getting bombarded all day long. And then this is another one. This house we couldn't orient.
That's the one in Carefree.
Yeah, this is the one in Carefree. We couldn't orient it north-south. We had such a big program, we had to just fit it in between the boulders. So here we wanted to start looking at when are the boulders, when are the shade structures going to get all these different patios on all the way around the house taken care of. And about 3 o'clock, every portion or every window is in some sort of shade, either because of the mountain or because of the roof overhangs. Talk about structure on some of this stuff. Some alternative. I always like showing people this one though. This is a rammed earth wall in a museum in Canada. And it's just the beautiful things they can do with those materials.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I always also tell them, hey, you see it here in Arizona, but about 90% of that soil is coming from somewhere else, because our soils are just so poor when it comes to this. So that's kind of the bad part about rammed earth.
Do they use concrete with that?
They'll usually mix a little bit in to the mix, and they compact it in the formwork and take it. We're hoping to do our first straw bale house, at least start design in the fall.
Where?
So,
what city?
Scottsdale. And this is compressed earth block. This is actually what I'm going to show you in the project we're designing. And this is like my new favorite material. It's kind of a cross between adobe and rammed earth, where you're taking the soil and you're making a block, but instead of baking it, you're just compacting it. And the adobe code says your blocks need to be at least rated for 300 pounds per square inch of load. We've got this project in Texas. He's already bought the machine. He's had it for like a year. He's been testing the soil on his lot. And he started off at 1,000 PSI. Wow. He's tweaked his mixture a little bit. We've added about 4% lime to it. And he's at 1,500 PSI. It's like a concrete block, and we're doing it out of dirt. So, and he's getting all the dirt from his site.
What's the difference between this and rammed earth?
It's really a mini version of rammed earth. Rammed earth you do here, you ram a block and you stack the blocks. Rammed earth is you ram the whole wall in pieces as you go up. So you've got these kind of striations in the wall. But I mean, similar concept, just a different way to do it.
Both approximately the same energy efficient and...
Yeah, it's all about the thickness with that. But yeah, it's all about the latent heat and the moisture in the block, and the thicker the better. Some advanced framing stuff. And there's this new foam product I haven't used. And it is Cementitious Phone. I don't know if you've heard of this stuff. Normally I try to stay away from cement-based products because of all the embodied energy, but this stuff seems awesome. It comes out the same size it's always going to be, so it doesn't expand or anything. And it gives you a 2-hour fire rating in some cases. It's air-entrained foam that's cement-based. Bugs hate it, rats hate it. You get that great fire rating, super sound rating.
Jeez.
It's about an R4, so that rigid foam's about an R7 per inch. That flexible foam's about an R4, so it's about the same there.
What about shredded paper? I mean, cellulose.
Yeah, that's what I tell people. I mean, if you've got zero budget and you're doing it yourself, you're going to use a batt insulation. So at least get formaldehyde-free batt. But why, fill your house wells, itchies and scratchies if you don't have to? So if you're having somebody do it, I say use cellulose. Because here's a good example that this is how the guys are going to install batt. They're going to leave gaps in there. They're going to leave voids. They won't cover your pipes. This will fit everywhere. It'll cover the nooks and crannies. The guy's skin's exposed when he's installing it. It's recycled newspaper. And where it got the bad rap is, 20 years ago when they did it, there was zero building science behind it, so it was all falling in the walls. But now they know the specific densities it needs to be installed at, the exact amounts of water where it's going to stay in place. And it's a really good, economical, really high quality insulation. Parts of the country, assuming that this is cellulose or fiberglass or recycled bat, that's not an air seal like a foam is. So air drafts can get through it. And what actually stops the draft from coming through is that layer of paint on your gypboard. It sounds cheap and cheesy, but when you do it right, it works.
Yeah.
And that's why they tell you, hey, you need to caulk at the bottom of your wall, the top of your wall, your outlets, because those are infiltrations for that air to come through. So if you caulk all that in, you paint your wall, this will stop, this will basically keep the energy where it needs to be, and this will stop drafts.